So I'm going to do a reaction on Marie's video on the structure of the Galactic Federation importance reference video. Okay. And it occurred to me that maybe there's something in this that we can use, not just informationally, but what if we could use our wild and vivid imaginations to imagine things happening in the astral that could trickle down and affect the physical world experience that we're living in. So keeping that in mind, let's see if there's some kind of astral missions we can imagine going on and then go on them in our imagination and make some changes. Help the team, right? Okay, let's see what happens. I haven't listened to this yet, but let's go.
Still, I take my information very seriously, and for whoever has eyes to see. I am writing this on the morning of June 25th, 2025. This subject is vital to understanding what is wrong with the part of the Galactic Federation that has been overseeing Earth and everything related to it. It is all...
What's wrong with it? It's corrupt. That's what's wrong. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Also vital to understand why we cannot intervene directly on Earth further than a certain point.
I have an idea. How about intervene off planet, not on Earth? I'm talking about the generators on the moon that are beaming this energy at Earth that were put in place long ago by the Galactic Federation to subdue the reptilian group, making the rest of humanity kind of like collateral damage. This is my understanding. I'm not saying this is what she's saying, but this is the story I've gathered over the years, and that's my understanding of it. So maybe we can start going to Galactic Federation Council meetings demanding to be heard, right? But do it in the astral, do it in your imagination, and bring up the idea of, hey, look, since the Tigetans and the Irma and the group here have control over galactic space around Earth, and they are the official representative of the Galactic Federation. What if they were able to, if it was within the context of the policy that we're going to find out about in a minute, what if they could start tweaking down the moon energy stuff so it stops affecting humanity in an adverse way, and gradually or quickly dissipating that freaky moon energy that's affecting our consciousness, our thinking, all of that, making us a little bit, under the weather. Yeah, what do you think? Huh? All in your imagination, right? Okay, Murray, sorry. Please continue.
This is the expanded structure of the Galactic Federation, as I have researched and found out by talking to several high-ranking people in the know, and also using my own experience as the Tagetan Queen. The Galactic Federation is not one single centralized entity. Rather, it is a conglomerate of big and small cooperative councils, most of them spread far apart. The entire Galactic Federation works with the same so-called step council system, also called holistic society, observed in most advanced civilizations. This is when there is a council, made up of voluntary members, for a small town, and this independent council will oversee its interests and needs, until whatever is happening or needed exceeds their capacity, and this is when they would seek help from the next step up from them, and that would be a larger council, also...
Theoretically, these councils would not be made up like, let's do Middle Earth. You've got orcs, and you've got elves, and you've got giants, and you've got the dragons, and you've got the humans, and you got all these different races of being sharing a world. But in this one little village, it's all human. It would be really nice if we didn't have a council that controls what goes on in this little village, and the council is composed of a bunch of fucking goblins. Wouldn't that be nice? Or even elves. They're not us. We need humans in the human council. I'm just saying, right? Okay.
Made up of regional volunteers, which oversees the interests of a larger group of towns in an entire region. And if this one would also need help, they would seek it from a larger one, for example, the Planetary Council, and finally the High Council of the entire culture, which may include several associated planets or a single one, according to each case.
Yeah. And wouldn't it be nice? I mean, in a perfect world, right? If the higher council, where you seek help, they were also human, or at least had several human representatives. It's like a bunch of cows going to a fucking greater council, and it's a bunch of fucking wolves. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to get a lot of sympathy here. And we're talking intelligent cows and intelligent wolves, right? But you go on, it's a bunch of wolves. You go, oh shit. This is not good. Okay. And I just have a feeling that a lot of these councils and over councils and all this stuff, if there's a glitch in the system or something that could use a little work, it would be the representatives of a council that oversees, the other lower levels of council and communities, galactic communities, and at quadrants or subquadrants or solar systems or whatever. Yeah, I'm just saying. And I do these kinds of reactions to help people like think outside the box and thus imagine outside the box. And what we're basically going to imagine, predominantly think about, feel about, we bring about. And so we don't want to be listening to a lot of fear porn on the internet about things so much as looking at things we can listen to and learn about and see an angle that we can think in the positive. Imagine a positive. How could we spin this? And the latest one I came up with was, what if the Tigetans and the Irma have the ability and can make the call to turn down or turn off the moon energies that are affecting humanity adversely? I go, yeah, let's do that. But I don't know enough about the details, like what would happen if you turned it off. Would everybody go fucking crazy? Or get all fucked up because we turned it off too fast? It's like coming off some fucking drug too fast, and now you're all fucked up. It's like, but maybe if we pace ourselves, we could see the end of this sort of thing and see the gradual expansion of consciousness and reality, understanding. I don't know, I'm just talking here, man. Come on. It's a reaction. I'm reacting. Please continue, Marie.
This way, each council is fully independent, yet also associated with the other ones through a higher council, which also has a higher one, and so on. The step council system does not end at the high council level of the entire culture, and
I get that you're not going to have humans all the way up to. It would be nice, maybe it's possible, but I can see how there's a lot of other life forms besides the human and body, and race, so to speak. And just because they're human, that doesn't mean they're nice guys either, just saying. But yeah, there's a lot. It's complicated, isn't it? Isn't it, Marie? It is, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
And this is when it starts to become the Galactic Federation. The high councils of other holistic societies, usually neighboring ones but not only, associate in the very same way to form another higher council, also made up of regional volunteers, and which will see to the interests and needs of all the star races and cultures associated with them. An example of this level would be the Alcyone Council, which is the organization that serves the interests and needs of all the cultures of the M45 Pleiades star system, including their colonies. The high councils at this level will also associate with the ones that oversee other star systems, clusters and constellations, which will all cooperate so their member star races and their citizens' needs are met in harmony.
That's the plan. But what we know about the cabal, either on Earth or out in the galaxy, their strategy is infiltrate, hijack, and consolidate. That's kind of a game plan. They infiltrate a governing body or a corporation or a group as if they're buddy and they're undercover agents, and they'll get into a good place. It's like a mole or an agent in any spy movie you ever saw, where they're going undercover and pretending to be a criminal so they can get into this criminal organization, for example. But anyway, you infiltrate the organization, acting as if you're something you're not, and then you get yourself into a position of power, and now you get your buddies in positions of power, and now they are able to hijack your group or your governing body because they are in positions to make policy and call the shots. So they do this for a while, they do it here, they do it there, they do it over there, and now they've got it well enough organized to consolidate, overwhelm and consolidate whatever your group or organization might be, and bring it into the fold and consolidate it into their organization. And if it's in the control and domination of worlds game, that's how they would do it. Big picture. This is my understanding of how the dark side does their world domination and control stuff. Because doing it by force is like, that's old school, man. We don't do that anymore. We have clever, better ways to consolidate and control and dominate. So I'm thinking, that's what I'm thinking about when I hear Marie talk about this stuff. Although, in theory and hopefully in practice, that's not going on. I suspect that there is a lot of corruption and a lot of infiltration and hijacking going on. That's my thoughts. And as she's mentioned it before, she's mentioned things of a similar nature.
This is how the Galactic Federation works, and has been working well for eons.
Yeah.
There hardly are any conflicts among their members, as conflicts mostly surface because of a lack of resources, or a perceived lack of them at least.
Yeah.
But for fully interstellar societies and cultures, resources are readily abundant as they no longer need to mine their home planets, resorting to fetch their raw materials from countless asteroids and other non-life supporting cosmic objects.
So as long as they're compatible and cooperative civilizations, it doesn't matter if they're all the same kind of being or not. They're working together. That's the whole point. And that's the point of the Federation of planets in our galaxy. There's about 500,000 of them, 500,000 civilizations or something like that. So yeah, good plan. It's been working for quite a while, but just give the dark side a fucking minute, man. And they're going to try to infiltrate, hijack, and consolidate. That's my understanding of a universe of duality. Good guys, bad guys, love and light, enslavement, blah, blah, blah.
Barter is also a highly used means of exchanging things and resources among star members, and has also worked well for a very long time. The problem arises when the very people who are the citizens of such a federation become the objects of greed, and become the resource themselves. This is the case with invading forces who would see those members as food and objects of exploitation. An example of this is the ever-present threat coming from the general region of Orion. This is why the Galactic Federation and all its steps and levels must be well organized to defend the interests and the very integrity of its citizens, and so it has delivered for a very long time. Constellations, their names, and the animals that they are associated with are not an Earth-human concept. It was imported from the greater stellar community into Earth's culture, through various mechanisms like starseed concept seeding, and by the larger collective unconscious, but also directly by the intervention of visitors with starships. The idea of associating a group of stars with animals may look primitive to the untrained eye, but it is a pictorial attempt to have common grounds of reference for very different star races, which may have communication difficulties and issues. The problem here, and the reason I am mentioning this, is that even though the idea of constellations is nearly identical to how it is interpreted in Earth's old and modern astronomy is nearly identical to the one observed by countless star races, some important differences do exist. For most star races,
I'm thinking that the Orions, that's the reptilian and the Draco area, yeah?
more so those who are Galactic Federation members, a constellation is a political structure, and not only a clump or group of stars that appear to be close together.
Okay.
You must have in mind that the point of view of the night sky as seen from Earth is unique from the point of view of that planet, and so would be at least most of the animals constellations are associated with. This means that from the point of view of other faraway star races and their planets, the night sky would logically look very different. Another problem is that although from Earth several stars may appear to the naked eye to be close together, when seen from another angle in space, those stars in reality may be very far apart, and it also occurs that stars that in the firmament as seen from Earth appear to be far apart, may actually be close neighbors. This means that the concept of a constellation will differ between how they are understood from Earth, and the point of view of fully interstellar societies. As for the latter, a constellation is the group of stars with their cultures, which are associated with a high council that oversees its needs, and not because of a simple visual star association. This means that the exact stars and animals the constellations are associated with may not always coincide between how they are seen from Earth and off-planet. An example of this is Taurus and the Pleiades. From Earth, the M45 Pleiades star cluster is not a constellation as it is only part of Taurus, yet for interstellar societies, Pleiades is in itself a constellation, but based on the political arrangement around it, and not because of any physical location within a larger constellation as it is understood on Earth. In short, for people on Earth, a constellation is a group of physical stars which are visually close together and which are associated with an animal or object, but for interstellar cultures and societies, a constellation is more of a political term, although some physical star location element is still present in the mix. Moving on, I will use the term High Council of an entire constellation for descriptive purposes here because it is usually the case, although not always, as I just explained. I am using the word constellation from the point of view and meaning as it is seen from the point of view of interstellar cultures. At this level, each High Council of a constellation can and does associate with the High Council of another constellation, yet at this very high level, the interaction between both parties has become extremely limited, mostly because they do not need anything from each other. This means that a very long time, perhaps even thousands of years may pass before any communication occurs between them. At least communication between most is sparse and uninterested, as
Hey, you know what I think would be a great idea? If these members of these high councils that call the shots that would actually affect the quality of our life on Earth, I wonder if they have actually lived on Earth. It's like, hey, do a couple of lifetimes on Earth, just to get a feel for what the problem is, yeah, and then let's hear what you have to say about the whole damn thing. Because I'm just saying, man. We're doing it, right? If you're a starseed, or if you relate to being a starseed, you're here, you're in a physical body, like, holy shit, this place is a real circus. This is a clown show. This is loaded with lies, deception, deceit, challenges, obstacles, all kinds of things. Throw us a bone here. It's like, what's ethical and right and what is not, right? And so there's a lot of galactic interference going on Earth, and it's not being addressed. It's being ignored. And Marie and Yaski and Athena and the others have been talking about this very thing. So we get to, in our imagination, go to these council meetings and say, look, listen up, folks. And go there as a strong, powerful, multidimensional being, not as a physical being in any kind of body. Assume a body you want, you know, it could be a human body, of course. You can go in a light body, you can go in a fucking Irma body, a dragon body, doesn't matter what body you use, but go there in your recognizing your power. You are a creator being. You create and co-create universes like this. This is who and what you truly are. And in these higher realms, where you're going to meet these galactic council members, just wear your best suit, your best persona. Hi, I'm just here to let you know that I've been living on Earth as a human. It's a shit show down there. There's a lot of injustice. There's a lot of rule breaking in favor of the cabal, the dark side. The human race is getting butchered. It's time to do something about it or step down. Okay? We've got other beings that can step in, take your place if it's too much for you, or you don't understand, or you feel it's not important enough to you. Okay? We'll take it from here if you can't handle it. With all due respect. All right. But you don't talk like a little fucking human getting beat up. Say, please help us. No. Walk in there like a powerful fucking being, man. Hi, I'm here to address the council. Pay up. Pay attention. Listen up. All right. And then tell them your perspective. Ta-da! It's got to do something, man. It's the power of the imagination. It's the power of what goes on in the astral realms, in the higher realms, in the alternate parallel worlds, and all that stuff. Yeah. You and I, we can make a difference. All right? All right. Please continue, Murray.
Self-reliance has eliminated the need for an even higher level of High Council. This means that there is no such thing as the Higher Council of the Galactic Federation, which oversees several constellations, much less an entire galaxy, even though it holds that very word in its name. A galaxy, such as the Milky Way, is an extremely large star cluster, so big it is simply unmanageable and unthinkable, to the point that there can never be a single organization that oversees its interests, as they would be overwhelmingly complex. A constellation-level High Council is complicated enough, and therefore is also rarely used, but this depends on the size and number of its member star races. This means that the Step Council Holistic Society system stops at the constellation level, simply because the interaction between constellations is rare, scarce, and unnecessary. Having said all this, let's now focus on Earth and its circumstances. The members of any grouping of cooperating star races, which call themselves members of the Galactic Federation, have important things in common. First, they are all fully interstellar, which means that they move from star to star, mingling and negotiating with their inhabitants, and as the result of this, and second, they are then aware of their status as members of a group of cooperating star races with a High Council in common which oversees their needs. Not every planet in this galactic quadrant is aware of the very existence of such a thing as a galactic federation, and therefore, they are not members of it. And there are other star races who, while being fully interstellar, and mostly because of cultural reasons, chose not to have anything to do with other star races, or as little as possible, even to their detriment, and therefore do not have any representative or member present in any council which would correspond to their location. Most interstellar star cultures and races have expanded their influence and cultural borders to their entire solar system, or in any case have peacefully associated themselves with all the advanced interstellar cultures present in the same solar system. For example, Tagetan society is present throughout Taygeta's solar system, and the Irma, who are from the star Vega, peacefully share their solar system with another culture, the Lyrians, from who the name of the human Lyrian species comes from. This will also depend on the complexity of each solar system, where this one Earth is in would be more towards the complicated side, because of its number of planets and what is going on in each one of them, and in many cases, what is not going on in them. This Sol 13, solar system Earth is in, should be associated with at least some of its neighboring stars in a constellation-level High Council, for example.
Unfortunately, the governing bodies of this planet that do have a galactic relationship with other star races is not the human population. So it's like a bunch of fucking cattle ranchers with their fucking cows. We're the fucking cows. We don't get to talk to other... We're just a fucking cow, man. Moo. We're getting butchered and chopped up and resources, and they're making red shoes out of us and eating the children and doing all kinds of creepy shit, right? It's like, this is fucked up. Right? Something's not right. It's like a double stand. It seems like a double standard to me. It's not something that the Tagetans or the Irma are doing. They're trying to make it right. This is my perspective. But these other star races out there are dealing with these reptilians and whoever's running this fucking world. And what are they turning? They're just looking away while all this ruthless corruption occurs on planet Earth, extraterrestrial involvement, prime directive breaking the rules, interaction with the Earth humans and affecting our everything, and yet the good guys, the Pleiadians, the Irma, they can't just step in and fix it. When we got all this fucking lawyers speak about why not. Oh, no, it's the Earth humans are creating the... Come on. That does not fucking wash, man. It doesn't. If a bad guy can control the thoughts and the feelings and the beliefs of his prisoners, the thoughts and the beliefs of the prisoners are creating more negativity. You can get the ball rolling and the momentum going of this negativity, and those that are in power are continuing to keep it going in that direction. And it can be very challenging in that way. So you don't just look at somebody, a dog getting beat up or a little kid being abused by an adult and go, oh, it's fucking karma, man. The little kid's creating that shit. The dog deserves it. I don't know what the dog did last lifetime, but the dog's thinking and, manifesting negative shit. That's why it's getting all fucked up. Nah. Something's not right in that. That's just not fucking right. Maybe it's a little challenging to look at when you try to look at it deep, but something's not fucking right about that. And the Pleiadians get that. The Irma get that. There's a few others that understand that and are doing something about it. And Marie, I appreciate what everyone's doing. Yeah. About this problem we have. This is the part where I want to get really fucking angry, but I don't know. We don't have a target. It's hard to, who do you get mad at? Who do you not just rant and rave about, but who or what can we direct our attention on so that we can do something about it? We're just down here in the fucking cattle pen going, moo. Oh, fucking moo, man. This is not fucking very nice moo day. Right? Okay.
Example, with the stars and planets of Alpha Centauri, A, B and C, with the Alfreton culture, with the star Vega, with the Irma and the Lyrians. And more expansively by proximity with the stars known on Earth as Lumen 16A3, Luton 726AB, WISE 0855, Eridani, Locale, Wolf, WISE, Ross and even with Sirius. All with their mostly Lyrian human inhabitants and interstellar cultures. Altogether they could form a political constellation, yet in this corner of the galaxy, most of those inhabited stars are not associated, or belong to other constellation political alliances, regardless of their physical distance to their friends. This leaves this Sol 13 solar system Earth is in, standing alone with no real expanded political association, as it doubtfully has any interstellar culture residing within. And I know this may hurt the feelings of fanatics who follow other noisy alleged star races from this solar system. But I speak the truth. Leaving this solar system, Sol 13 alone and with no political association has caused innumerable problems, as it is prone and vulnerable to abuse. It is said that it is being governed by a Saturn-level galactic federation that oversees the entire Sol 13 system, yet those never respond and are nowhere to be found, and this is where and why I say that there is nothing but obscurity at this level.
Corruption. She knows it. I'm sure of course she does. Yeah, something's really wrong here. And it's like, now let's define the problem and work within the structure, the Galactic Federation structure that they're bound by to make it right. But first we have to define the problem. And the problem is, it's hiding, it's making itself unknown. Those beings that are causing the problem are making themselves unknown, obscure, deceptive, and all that. So we're still in the defining the problem stage of this and finding who's the bad guy, who's responsible for the corruption, and how do we get it out of our system of governing. Yeah, kind of like that.
I am not referring to the entire Galactic Federation, in a more expanded context, as it has been working well for eons, and this is the problem exactly, as that is not good for Earth. The other constellation, or even star cluster levels of the Galactic Federation, see Earth only as an isolated problem, and not as an expanding source of evil which is slowly infiltrating itself into other planets.
Earth is a problem? Isn't the humans, we are not the problem, okay? Those that govern this world are the problem. Even if you just took it to the, the corrupt governments of Earth, there's corrupt politicians, evil, there's greed, it's just terrible. And that's just on a human level of corruption. But the governing bodies are not the people. Okay. Anyway.
Being that it has been only those who have been directly affected who are aware of the problem and wish to do something about it, while the others don't care or think that the problem is not in their jurisdiction. For example, the star races who are now being directly affected by Earth and its evil cabal are all the Pleiades M45 cultures, as they have been infiltrated and are in a cleaning process, and the people of Antaria, who have also been directly affected. There are countless other non-interstellar races who are also being affected by the cabal of Earth, but other high councils of other political constellations see them as being the responsibility of the interstellar races that are closer to them, and that means us, at the Alcyon Council, which means that it is our responsibility to protect and isolate those emerging pre-industrial cultures, and that is exactly what we are doing. Even when the Galactic Federation is not one single large organization, as I explained above, all the constellation levels of it share the same principles and rules and regulations, as they have proven to be effective in safeguarding their collective and single interests, and have been shared and accepted for a very long time, and is perhaps the only tangible thing that unites us all as the Galactic Federation.
Yeah.
The impressive and age-old efficiency of the larger Galactic Federation with all its rules and regulations, although working marvelously for countless interstellar star races, is now a strong detriment to the people of Earth, because it is blinding the rest of the galactic community to what is really occurring in that planet, as they take for granted that the local levels will take care of the problem. They live in a false idea and a false sense of legal and diplomatic protection that
So local levels are corrupt. It's as simple as that. But what she's aware of, if I understood her correctly, is that the local star races here see this corruption, the cabal and its evil corruption, insinuating itself into their cultures, not just our planet, but theirs. So locally, we see the problem. So it looks like locally, we're going to have to solve it, right?
does not include highly complicated cases like Earth's. They live under a large propaganda machine that has convinced them that following effective age-old rules is the only correct way to handle things.
Yeah.
And that is the problem.
Yeah.
We cannot simply invade Antarctica directly in a military attempt to clear negativity from the planet, as that would be seen by all the other high councils of the Galactic Federation as a hostile invasion. They have had no time to process the need for a cleanup for planet Earth, and their legal rules and regulations impede my group from acting further than a certain undefined point, because, in all their wisdom, they are blinded by their own propaganda. We cannot discard that the Saturn level of the Galactic Federation may have also sold them propaganda on their behalf, giving them a false idea that the issues in this Sol 13 system are being handled by them effectively. If the Saturn level of the Galactic Federation even exists, as we are now heavily suspecting that everything is being orchestrated from Earth, from deep under its crust, not only from Antarctica, although that would be their main entry point. The Saturn level may only be a military outpost of sorts to make everyone else believe the overlords of this solar system reside there. Take for example, the Andromedan Viera, which was said to be the Galactic Federation headquarters for Earth, yet after we have gone in, we now know that it was more of a decoy, so the same thing may also apply to Saturn, but honestly, we do not know yet. We cannot simply send a starship or even a probe to Saturn because they are immediately taken out by several arrays of super powerful energy weapons, which are at a planet-destroying level. Death Star level for those of you who like Star Wars, which is more of a documentary and less science fiction, I warn you. Everything that has to do with Saturn sounds more like a decoy to me, and less of a real location for headquarters of any kind, and we've seen that before during the Tiamat Wars, where one side placed a decoy like that on that planet to achieve an ambush, and ultimately caused its destruction. We cannot go into Earth with an overwhelming force because we would be removed from here by other Galactic Federation members, mostly those who have fallen into the Federation propaganda machine, and who like to follow rules and regulations, dot by dot. As the Galactic Federation does not exist as a single organization, but rather as a conglomerate of many, it does not have any fleet of starships of its own. Its laws, rules and regulations and their enforcement depend on the military might of its members. This also means that whenever someone says that the Galactic Federation's ultimate headquarters reside on this or that other planet, some even say on Earth, I take that statement with utmost skepticism, because of how the Galactic Federation itself is structured, as I have described in this video. A lot of explaining and a lot of spreading awareness of the situation to all the members, high councils, and constellation levels is necessary to be able to proceed on Earth directly, or they will simply send their vast military forces to remove us from here, as...
Okay, remember what I said at the beginning of the video, like imagine going into the astral or wherever and going to these council meetings. It looks like the mission has to do with waking up these council members to the idea of propaganda and misconduct or corruption within their own system, even above them or those that they interact with, because there's definitely some corruption going on. And they are not coming around and facilitating or helping the Tibetans and the Irma deal with the situation that is very clear on Earth, but it's also spreading out into the other star races that are close to Earth. The corruption, it's like a fucking cancer, man. It's just like keeps creeping and creeping, and that's how they work. And so it would be up to us, if we were up for the challenge, as spiritual beings, diplomats, or emissaries, to go to these meetings just in your imagination. Just do it. Go in as a very powerful, wise being who has had experience, boots on the ground, in the middle of this corruption, so we understand it better than they do, and wake them up to the fact, at least the possibility, get them looking into the possibility of corruption and infiltration and hijacking of their own governing system at their level of wonderfulness, right? Now I'm just saying, the brainstorming here.
They are not aware of the details of why Federation rules and regulations may not always apply to Earth. Those other levels of the Galactic Federation will only see that we are invading a planet with a non-interstellar society, and would come to take us out and ask questions later. And this also goes for other star races who are directly here, and do not necessarily have anything to do with constellation-level high councils, as those too are under the influence of the age-old Federation propaganda that imposes its rules and regulations upon everyone, members or not. And yes, we are hard at work spreading awareness, but it takes time, and even more so, taking into account all the time slips and temporal perception differences between countless cultures.
Spreading perception. They're hard at work spreading perception, yeah. And that's what I'm saying too. You just get in the astral, imagine your ass off about how you can share the perspective of what's really going on, and encourage them to look a little deeper at what's going on, because it will affect them eventually.
And worsening the problem, the people of Earth need immediate action, not a council meeting to assess the situation taking place sometime in the next millennia. This is where we can say that the Galactic Federation, in all its splendor, is broken and incapable of handling such a complicated situation like the one Earth is in. My group will continue to work for the interests and the protection of the people of Earth, to the limit of our legal and physical possibilities. It is our duty as Galactic Federation members. I hope this video will help you understand better the entire complicated situation the Earth is in, and why my group can only act within the legal frame of the Galactic Federation's rules and regulations. There is no one single overseeing institution to give our case to. We must handle the situation as best as we can, and with the resources available. No one will come to our rescue, and that goes for the people of Earth, and for us as well, up here doing whatever we can, and with whatever we can, we are together in this as it affects all of our cultures, citizens, and people. Someone has been posing as a Galactic Federation solar system-wide authority, and we strongly believe they are hiding underground on Earth, not on Saturn or anywhere else, and playing all Federation members for fools. This group is negative, as judged from its actions, and is not invincible, as we have proven by taking over Earth's airspace and space.
Okay, so what we can do is imagine that we are part of the team in the astral, and then in some way or other you create your own scenario. We're bringing those hidden authorities or groups or generals or controllers to the surface, or we're exposing them, or we're imagining them slipping up and getting caught, doing something that is a violation of the galactic codes in such a way that would give them the right or the opportunity to go in and grab their ass, right? Just imagine shit, man. Just come up with stuff, whatever you might want. But yeah, if you can't think about it, you can't feel about it, and you can't bring about it. That's kind of your basic manifestation stuff. But what we don't want to do is think doom and gloom and bullshit negative stuff about what's going on. And she's given us some insights on where we might look and do this astral warrior stuff, go on astral missions, because this is a war, and it's a psychic war, and it's a spiritual war, and it's a war for your mind, your thoughts, your feeling, and your very being. So we use everything we've got, and what we've got in ACES is a wild and crazy, vivid imagination. Even if you can't see imagery, you can imagine and write your little story in longhand if you have to, and you don't have to see shit. You don't have to be, I'm not visual, I can't imagine any. No, you can write down your story, how the dark side, the cabal slips up, gets caught, or how the good guys pull off something clever, or maybe we get an extremely intelligent, legal person. Like we've already got one, I forget her name, but what if we got some other brilliant genius on a galactic level, legal experts in maritime law, space law, and in Galactic Federation law, and we found some loopholes or great arguments. They've already done a few, so that it will give the Pleiadians and the Irma the edge to do something a little more than what the dark side would expect they are able to do. So yeah, this is my thoughts on this.
We must all handle this bad situation locally, us from up here doing whatever we can, restoring harmony in this sector, and you down there as the real cavalry who is facing evil head-on every day. You are not alone, dear people of Earth. We are here with you, providing air support whenever possible and as much as possible. And we do act directly on the ground as well. After the incidents in the Andromedan Vieira, all operations on Earth have been resumed, although they never really stopped. This will be all for today. As always, thank you for watching my video, and for liking, sharing, and subscribing for more. It helps this channel grow a lot. And
thank you, Marie. Really appreciate it. And thank you for watching, and your comments are welcome. I'll talk to you later, okay? Do something. Imagine doing something. And we'll go from there.